We're starting with question number 40 on the Review 2 worksheet. A pizza with a diameter of 14 inches is divided into 16 equal slices. So we're cutting up a pizza. First thing I want to recognize is they gave us a diameter. I'm going to find the radius. So the radius is 14 divided by 2. So the radius is half of the diameter, and it's 7 inches. What is the arc length of one slice? What is the arc length? That's a piece of the circumference. That means I have to find the circumference first before I can find a piece of it. Circumference is 2 pi r, which is 2 pi times 7. 2 times 7 is 14. So there's our circumference, 14 pi. And now I'm going to take 14 pi, which is my whole circumference, and I'm going to find out the arc length of one slice. Well, one slice is 1 out of 16. We have 16 slices, so I'm going to find 1/16 of the circumference. Let's put that in our calculator. We've got 14 pi, and then we're going to multiply that times 1 divided by 16 and press equal. We've got 2.7. You know, there is something there that doesn't look correct. Oh, it is correct. 2.7. So approximately 2.7 inches. And this is just a piece of the circumference, so it's not inches squared. That would be area. Alright, let's take a look at the second part. What is the area of one slice? The area, that's going to be a sector, and that's a piece of the area. We got to find the whole area first. Area is pi r squared, which is going to be pi times 7 squared, which is 49 pi. There's the whole area. Now I'm going to take the whole area, 49 pi, and multiply it by the part of the area I want, which is 1 slice out of 16, or 1 over 16. So we've got 49, whoops, let's clear that, 49 pi, and then we want 1/16 of that. My calculator allows me to not put the multiplication sign. If I don't put it in, it assumes we are multiplying. Your calculator might require you to write 49 times pi times, and then in parentheses 1/16. Just letting you know that. The answer is 9.6 is rounded to 1 decimal, so approximately 9.6. And now we're looking at area, so it is inches squared. 9.6 inches squared. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, and then the last question, if you eat 7 pieces, so 7 pieces, how many square inches did you eat? Now I got 2 choices here. I can take the area for 1 piece and multiply it by 7. My problem with that is I might get a rounding error. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my total area. Now think about this, class. Square inches, that means we are looking at sector area. If it said how many inches was the crust, you'd look at arc length. This is actually square inches, so it is sector area. That means I'm going to take my total area, which we know is 49 pi, but now instead of eating 1 piece out of 16, I want to eat 7 pieces out of 16. And let's put that in our calculator. So 49 pi, and now we want to eat 7 out of 12 pieces. That's 89.8. 89.8. So approximately 89.8. And this is still area, so 89.8 inches squared. Alright, so there's how to deal with the pizza piece problem. Try to do number 41 on your own. Pause the video and then come back and take a look at your answers. Here are the answers to question number 41. Just to verify these. A couple things you want to notice is this time they give you a cake with a radius of 8 inches, so I know the radius. And we've got 6 pieces. So we're going to find the arc length of one piece, the area of one piece, and then what about the area of two pieces? So hopefully you get those answers correct. If not, go back and look at the video for question number 40. Question number 42. This tire has a radius of 37 centimeters. How far will the tire travel with a 40-degree rotation? Let's take a look, class. When you see the word how far, that means you're dealing with a piece of the circumference. There's nothing in here that says area, so we want to know if the tire rotates 40 degrees, how far will the tire roll along the ground? And that's a piece of the circumference. So we're looking at arc length. So in order to do this one, we're going to find circumference first. Remember, we got to know the whole thing first, and then we're going to find what part we want. Circumference is 2 pi r, which is 2 pi, and the radius is 37. And that's going to be equal to 2 times 37 is 74. So circumference is 74 pi. And so the rotation is going to be 74 pi, the whole circumference. And then we are only going to move 40 degrees out of a total of 360 degrees. When you put that in your calculator, you're going to get, let's actually do this one. So I've got 74 pi, and then in parentheses I'm going 40 degrees out of a total of 360 degrees. I've got 25.8. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, that is correct. 74 pi times 40 degrees out of 360, so 25.8. So approximately 25.8. And our unit of measure is centimeters. And since it's arc length, it's not centimeters squared, it's just distance. 25.8 centimeters. Go ahead and do the next one on your own. How far will the tire travel with an 85-degree rotation? This is the answer you should get when you work that out. Question number 43. Let's do this one together. The speedometer is designed using a semicircle. So semicircle is half a circle. The length of the needle is 6 centimeters. Let's go ahead and write that, 6 centimeters. How far will the end of the needle travel? How far, class? How far is arc length? Remember in the last question it said how far does the tire travel? That is arc length. How far will the end of the needle travel if your speed changes from 30 miles per hour to 65 miles per hour? Well, if we look at 30 miles per hour to 65 miles per hour, you're going to see that if we do 65 minus 30, that means that we've changed by 35 miles per hour. We're going 35 miles per hour faster. So there is our actually miles per hour from the start and to the end. Let's go ahead and solve this one. If we're looking at how far, we're dealing with arc length, we have to find circumference. Circumference equals 2 pi r, which is equal to 2 pi, and our radius is the length of the needle, which is 6, and that's equal to 12 pi. So there's our circumference. Okay, now if we're dealing with a semicircle, we only can go around halfway. So really, we only want to look at half of the circumference here. Let's get half of the circumference, and that's 1/2 times 12 pi. Well, 1/2 times 12 is equal to 6. Half of 12 is 6. So half of the circumference is 6 pi. That is the number we're going to use to solve this problem. We don't want to go use 12 pi, and there is a way to use 12 pi, but I'm going to use the idea that we only have semicircle, so we're dealing with the distance is just half the circumference. And now we're going to take our total distance and we're going to multiply it by the fraction that it traveled. Well, the needle traveled 35 miles per hour out of a total of 100 miles per hour. Don't put 180 because we're looking at this scale, 0 to 100. We go 35 miles out of a total possible miles of 100. So 6 pi times 35 over 100. And that's going to be approximately, let's take a look, 6 pi times 35 divided by 100. And that is equal to, equal to 6.59 or 6.6. So approximately 6.6, and our unit of measure is centimeters. There's how far the needle will travel to go from 30 to 65 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the next question. Clock question. The minute hand of the clock is pointing at 10. I see that in the diagram. How many degrees? So now think about this, class. This is not asking you for how far, so it's not arc length. It's not asking us for the area, so it's not sector area. It's just degrees. How many degrees will it travel if it moves from 10 to 5? So 10 to 5. I'm going to put a little dot right here. It's going to get to the 5. Well, we know that the total degrees of a circle are 360. And of those 360, we're going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. To get from 10 to 5, we move 7 numbers out of a total of 12 numbers. Excuse me. Since the clock is already divided up into 12 equal spaces, we can just use 7 over 12. Put that in your calculator, and you're going to get, actually not approximate, it's exactly 210 degrees. Go ahead and do the next question on your own. Pause the video for a moment. You can go ahead and try to solve the next problem and see if you can figure out how many degrees it moves when it travels from the 10 to the 7. You should get 270 degrees. Next question. If the minute hand on the clock is 11 inches long, so if the minute hand is 11 inches long, I already know that's my radius. The radius equals 11 inches because it's the distance from the center of the circle to the edge of touching the circle. How far? So it says how far. How far means we're looking for arc length. We're looking for a piece of the circumference. How far will the end of the hand travel when it moves from the 10 to the 5? Well, we're going to have to know the circumference first because we're looking for an arc length. 2 pi r is equal to 2 pi 11 since the radius is 11. 2 times 11 is 22, so our circumference is 22 pi. And now we're going to take our entire circumference and multiply it by the fraction that it's moving. Well, from 10 to 5, we are moving 7 numbers out of a total of 12. Put that in your calculator, and you're going to get approximately 40.3, and we're looking at inches here, 40.3 inches. The next question is the same kind of question. Take a look at that and see if you can figure out if the minute hand is 33 centimeters long, how far will the end of the hand travel when it moves 25 minutes? Now class, when I give you 25 minutes, your fraction is not going to be based on the numbers on the clock now. Your fraction is going to be based on the number of minutes. So the fraction here you should use is going to be 25 over 60. So when you set this one up, you should take the total circumference and multiply it by 25 minutes out of a total of 60, and you should get this answer. Alright, question number 45. A windshield wiper is 60 centimeters long, so from here to here is 60 centimeters. I can actually label it on the bottom here, 60 centimeters. One sweep covers an angle of 114 degrees. So when we move from the bottom to the top and back again, it's moving 114 degrees. How far? How far tells you that this is arc length. How far does the end of the wiper blade travel with one sweep? Alright, so we're looking at arc length. That means we have to find the circumference first. Circumference equals 2 pi r, which is 2 pi times 60. which is 120 pi. Excuse me. And now we're going to take our whole circumference and multiply it by how much of the circumference we want. We want 114 degrees out of a total of the whole circle, which is 360 degrees. And that's going to get you approximately 119.4 centimeters. How far means arc length. Now when you get the next question, what is the area of the windshield covered by the wiper? Now we're looking at sector area. Now we're looking at the space inside. So if you want to find the area of just this piece of the circle, you're going to have to find the total area and then multiply it times the fraction that you want. So area is pi r squared, which is pi times 60 squared. 60 times 60 is 3,600. So there's our area, 3,600 pi. We take our total area and multiply it times the fraction that we want, which is still 114 degrees out of a total of 360, and you will get approximately 3,581.4. Now this is area or sector area. That means we have squared units or centimeters squared. There's the answers. Question number 45. Number 46 and 47 are pretty much the same kind of question. It's a story that gives you a distance and a central angle. So once I do number 46, you can do 47 by yourself. The beam from a lighthouse reaches a distance of 13 miles. That means this line right here is 13 miles. And since the lighthouse beam goes right to here, this is a sector area. So it says, what is the area covered? Sorry, let's finish this. 13 miles and spreads to an angle of 43 degrees. There's the two things you have to know for sector area: the radius and the measure of the central angle. What is the area covered by the lighthouse beam? Area tells me we're looking for sector area. I'm going to have to figure out the total area first. Pi r squared, which is pi times 13 squared. 13 squared is 169. So 169 pi. And now we're going to take the total area and figure out what fraction we want. Well, we only want 43 degrees. 43 degrees out of 360. And that's going to get us approximately 63.4. And now we have miles squared. You need to write this answer as a complete sentence, class. So you need to write something like, the area covered by the lighthouse beam is approximately 63.4 miles squared. Or you could say square miles. Alright, question number 47. Pause the video. Try to do number 47 on your own. And I'm going to scroll up now. Hopefully you've attempted this. Here is number 47. Headlights of a submarine. We know how far the beam travels, and that's going to be 62 meters. That's our radius. And then our angle is going to be 31 degrees. That's our central angle. And plug those in, follow the same steps you did in 46, and you should get approximately 1,039.9 miles squared. And that is the end of this video.